What's up, everybody? How is everyone doing? Happy Monday. Okay, it's been a very hairy week because we just opened on the new platform. So I normally get like 25, 30 people in here. We have 8 right now. So something tells me this people aren't really sure where to go or what's going on, but don't worry. It will all become very clear to everyone. Uh,
Hey Nate.
yeah.
Yeah, it was a little, I guess my first time I was a little confused. I went to the calendar and it was asking me to pay, but then I went into one of the groups and found a link in. So once I think I read the directions, I got in.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, if you're a, full-time member just like you normally were, let me just share like what that looks like and we'll work on everything. But basically it's just when you're in the unlimited lounge, that's where you have access to everything. So you just click on
Yeah.
unlimited lounge and you get our entire schedule. It's right here.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's what I did.
yep.
So
So you're good to go.
it,
Uh,
it was clear. I just didn't read any other prior directions. So maybe that's what other folks are doing the same thing.
yeah, I think once people migrate over, they get emails with all that information. So you should be fine. And then I mean, we still have the other school community open, right? And so that's still available. We're definitely going to still be using that for a little while as people get migrated over. So not to worry. Exactly. Yeah, Brian did the same thing. And I actually heard from a couple people today, same issue. We'll get all that stuff sorted. Not a big deal. Hope everybody likes it so far. It was a freaking pain in the ass to put it all together, but it's continuously getting better. And a lot of flexibility there. So, and then I annoyed Darren asking if Nat was late or found the wrong link. Yeah, right. That was my fault. I had this guy who showed up on a demo call with 5 minutes left, and I tried to give him a 5 minute presentation. I was like, okay, dude, I can't really do this. So here's our demo. So anyway, uh, welcome. Let's go. Questions. Ready to rock. We're recording. Go. I have a feeling everyone's going to show up at like 1:30. All right. So anybody who's got a question, raise their digital hand, and I will do the best I can to answer. No? What are you kidding me? All right, fine. Don't raise your hand. Just go. Ah, there we go. Yitz can always break the ice. What's up, Yitzhak? How are you, man?
How are you?
I'm well.
I did my post today last week after you went live with the new community.
Okay.
So now you could read it over. You'll understand what I did.
All right, I'll have to do that.
Um, I listed an app add-on on WebEx App Store.
Okay.
I'm getting a lot of clicks because I can monitor every click coming from there to my website. I have special tracking, and nothing is happening from a lot of different clicks. I only had one inbound lead, which reached out to me. It was still in the beginning. I had no idea what I'm even doing, how I'm
Okay.
selling it. So that went nowhere. But the main thing is I'm getting activity. I'm I have a feeling something is wrong. I'm not an expert when it comes to lead magnets and all those fancy stuff. Where could I go? Any direction who I could use? Is it you or somebody else who has a better understanding to examine this and help me out with it?
Yeah, that'd be Megan, 100%. Megan is very good with funnels. She's very good with lead magnets, landing pages, tracking, all that kind of stuff. So if you really want to get surgical with it, I would definitely reach out to her. Maybe attend one of those Thursday calls for sure. She does those every other Thursday. And then if you wanted, I guess, more extensive help with her, just reach out to her. She's usually pretty available. So yeah, I would definitely ask Megan about that.
The only thing which I was thinking of doing and trying, I just have a picture and a little text, assuming people will understand what I wrote, but they don't, and whatever. So I was thinking maybe to do a video, but instead of trying to do it professionally, do it myself. Like you would do a demo on this call, I would just do a demo, talk through all what this has, this product, and hopefully that who cares? Non-professional.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, you know as well as I do, testing is key, right? So there's absolutely nothing wrong with trying out something that you build yourself. Um, yeah. So I would definitely give it a whirl. You never know. But at the same time, when it comes to things like funnels and lead magnets, there's so many templates out there that work well that you should never have a problem. Like it's whatever mail client you use or whatever tracking you use. And typically these aren't like crazy expensive. Um, those are definitely all options. So I would probably start with something basic, right? Test, see how it does, and then just continuously, go more and more. Here come the members. I knew it anyway. So yeah, but definitely reach out to Megan. She's really, really good with this.
Okay, and one more thing,
Sure.
for search engine optimization, I want to try it a little bit, especially on the keywords like text messaging, WebEx, the WebEx call recording, things which have unique add-on abilities. Um, any idea who could give me, I mean, how to start this, even though I should just play with it? Well, I mean, you know that market a little bit better. Um,
So here's my thoughts on SEO. SEO is very different than it was pre-AI, right?
right.
So the people that I'm seeing with success in SEO right now tend to be e-commerce brands. They seem to be doing all right. And then there's like Reddit, which is like I'm convinced is partnered with Google because everything they have is on page one. So all the conventional things that used to work for SEO, at least from my perspective, I'm not seeing work as well as they used to. And the most basic stuff on SEO was always like inbound links, right? Do you have a lot of inbound links from authoritative websites? But then it was like things like keywords and um, site structure and all that kind of stuff, which I still don't think there's a guideline that really works right now ever since AI started. I'm just giving you my honest opinion. There are some SEO people on LinkedIn who apparently say they know how to crack all that. I take that with a grain of salt. I've been doing this almost 20 years. I never listened to a word of SEO advice, and I had a ton of SEO traffic. And it came from creating really good content and getting a lot of backlinks. Um, but if I'm you, I would likely bypass the entire SEO process and figure out Google Ads. Honestly, that's what I would do. Buy your way to the top of the search engines with ads. And if you have an ROI, even if you break even, to me, that's a humongous win. It's hard. It's very hard to crack SEO. It's very hard to crack Google Ads and get positive ROIs. But if you can, that's like in your control. It's very, very different. And when I say in control, I mean I had a website getting 70,000 views a day from search. It now gets 2,500. So what did I shift to? Email and paid ads. And you could do the same with both. Yes, it costs money, but if you're backing out, to me, there's always a level of control there. And if you're playing the SEO game that takes 2 years, right, as it is, and you have a breakthrough and you get SEO traffic, guess what? Google giveth, Google taketh away. And so for me, it was years of content, 13,000 articles that all went away in the blink of an eye. And so I'm very, very salty, obviously, and I don't want to go back in and try SEO all over again. So in my opinion, just buy the results, man. Buy the results, figure out ads. I think that's
Abs-
probably your best bet. Yeah. And pick some low-hanging fruit keywords, some, long tail keywords, phrases, and you might be able to pull off, 30-cent clicks or whatever it might be, and very targeted clicks, mind you. But that's a whole nother, that's a business in and of itself, as you know. Even learning LinkedIn ads, as you and I have talked about, it's like that alone is like having a business. You have to learn the business, right? And so Google Ads is a very complex ecosystem that is brilliant if you can figure it out. Um, so I have yet to sink my teeth into that. Anywho, Mr. Rella, hello, hello. What's up?
So I got a couple of questions, actually, different topics. One, just since we're on the ads topic, how is that, maybe Yitzhak, you can give us a little more if you don't mind. How is that going? Are you getting conversions and is your cost per click and I forget the other one, CTR maybe that you were talking about last week, is that coming down?
It's okay. It's getting worse, not better.
Hmm.
So let me explain. So the first, so my strategy, and if Nat, you want to go first because I know Nat is also doing some work on it, and then I'll kick in, or I could just talk away.
No, go right ahead. You actually have more on this than me. My very brief take is that I've paused ads at the moment because I want to hire someone who can probably do better than me. So that's where I'm at. I
Yeah.
actually manually decreased my bid, so I got it down to like 48 cents per click. But the hardest thing about LinkedIn ads, and Yitz can give more flavor on this, tracking's tough. Tracking. It's like, how the hell do you know what your progress is? It's not easy. And it depends on what ad you're doing. If you can be throwing ads out, to an outside external website, that's a completely different ad than if you're doing what I was doing and what Yitzhak is doing, which is basically native ads. Your native posts, Brian Rella posts, sponsored by whatever your company is and your company page, right? You still
Yeah.
can't lose personal post. It doesn't exist on LinkedIn. So
Are you able to track any kind of conversions or anything like
sure you
that?
can. Sure you can if you know how to do it. This is where I
Ah,
would throw it
gotcha.
over to
Okay. So
I
you
would
don't
throw it over to
you
Yitz
haven't
here.
you haven't cracked that.
So I did it daily. I started last week Monday. So I had 4 days consistent, the same time, because I want to be able to analyze with the least amount of data I have. So it started Monday, and it seems like it's similar when you start posting. You didn't post for a while, and you're doing very well with your post that day. But when you start posting the next day and the day after, suddenly everything slows down. Like LinkedIn is getting to learn you, and they adjust you based on how they see you. It works the same exact way with ads, the way I see it right now. So you start up very well, and then they start adjusting you. Um, Now, the way I have it set up, and I have it on purpose that way, I have that LinkedIn should figure out my best effort, how to maneuver me, because I'm not an expert with how to play with numbers. And it's very dangerous if I start playing with numbers in the middle of the day. Hey, that didn't move right now. And suddenly I start moving up and then they max me out. And it's a very dangerous game. So to learn the numbers, I decided to be consistent. So the strategy I'm running for last week and consistently again this week to prove my points. Um, yeah, I I think that what I have right now going the last 2 or 3 days is my consistency, what I will continue getting. Um, I also feel, and that's where we have to put it back to regular posting. When you have good engagement on your post, doesn't mean that you'll have good impressions. So people mix up this whole thing back and forth. Impressions you get based on many different factors, but one of the factors are that you have to have people online that could see your posts. Um, so the same thing comes with ads. I feel that if there's no people out there to see your ads, they cannot push it out. So the impressions, the numbers could vary based on that itself. So that brings it back to eventually, not this week or next week, the week after, I do plan to take all those knowledge and play with the actual numbers to see if I could drive down the cost. Because I will tell LinkedIn, I'm only willing to spend, let's say, let's throw a number, 50 cents per click. What's going to happen based on my analysis, based on the amount of people I target, um, they will push it out throughout the day when nobody's bidding higher. So in the morning, when a lot of people are bidding, I'm not going to be visible. And you know what? Who cares? They anyways are not pushing me out right away, right now, because based on best effort, they'll make much more money out of big players in the morning as pushing me out. So a day like today, Monday, there isn't a lot of people online the way I could see it from as much as I could see. Um, Again, it doesn't affect engagement, what I'm saying right now. It affects impressions. Um, they are getting a lot of people pushing to want to have the ads, big players for big money. And this is a lot of money basically per click, per results. So they wouldn't give it to me. And neither am I willing to spend that money.
Right.
So I hope you get what I'm trying to say, that playing with the amounts and having enough big audience of your ICP could play very well, but I don't know. The other thing is, like Nat said, I'm just playing with my own posts, regular posts, so I could analyze and see performance on my post and the whole concoction there. And I did have inbound from my own posts. The setup of my post was basically guided by Nat, and that's what I'm continuing like static. It's like a robot. um, I will try. There was 2, 3 posts, and that will be not this week, not next week, the week after when I'm going to take the data and play. I'm going to do 2, 3 posts which I actually did more targeted, like offering free trials, free, sign-ups, going very aggressively. And I will take all my experience and try to boost that up with ads and see if I could close up anything. So that will be my final call to say, you know what, this is one strategy. Okay, let me use the expertise to do a good sales post, and let me see if I could close on it. I don't have the data, and I want to go a little bit slow because, like I explained, if I play with the numbers as I'm doing it every day, it's going to be too much gambling, and I have to be careful.
Gotcha. Thanks, Yitzhak. Appreciate it.
I hope I wasn't too.
No, I got you. I think your strategy is smart. Like you're 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 not rushing. You're like gathering data, analyzing, seeing what's working, seeing what's not.
He's a surgeon.
Not trying not to spend a lot of money because I know they can get you. It's interesting. Um, my second question, Nat, is around video. I started following you guys on Instagram.
Mhm.
What are you using for to like capture the video that you're posting on Instagram, and why just on Instagram and not on LinkedIn? I haven't seen you post video on LinkedIn in a while.
So I use Opus Clip,
Opus?
which is really just a nice lazy way of cutting all your videos down. But typically on these calls, for example, they're all recorded, right? I put it into Opus Clip. I can usually get like 30 or 40 clips out of it that are like, anywhere from 30 seconds to 2 minutes.
Including the closed captions?
Yes. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Opus Clip
Yeah, that is awesome.
is really great. And frankly, I don't really care because I'm not trying to grow on those platforms. They're just there as available to people I already know, existing members, et cetera, et cetera. So the reasons those aren't going on LinkedIn is I don't think they're really placeholders. If I wanted to put something on LinkedIn, I'd probably have a little bit more production value, maybe some editing. And I'm probably going to start doing more video on LinkedIn, but when I say more, I mean like maybe once a week, and it'll be a lot more sales oriented. So, and the reason is I like to do things where I don't have to do more. Like I like to, if I do a video, I want to be able to post it 5 places. I don't want to have to do 5 different videos. So what we're doing lately is we're doing a lot of promo ads. I'm basically filming in my house 50-second promos on like brand built and like what we've been doing and all that kind of stuff. And those are high quality. I use captions for that. And what I'll do with those is those will turn into Facebook ads. They're not even on Instagram, but they'll be on Instagram as Instagram ads. And then those are the ones I might use in LinkedIn. So today, for a good example would be today, right? So today I did a post that said, I'm taking crazy pills, right? Like, and I talked about the whole, like what we're doing. I actually made that a video, a 45-second promo of that exact thing. That's an example of something where I could take that text, but also add that exact video. I just didn't create it yet. I didn't create that video until I got home today from the gym. And so what I may do is just repurpose the exact same post I put in today, because we actually wound up getting 2 members just from the post, which was really cool. So that tells me that it could be a winner, right? But maybe it could be enhanced by that video, but by seeing me actually be animated and all that kind of stuff. So it's not, I'm not against video on LinkedIn. I've said this many, many times. I just find that I get very similar results whether I'm doing video or not. So it's a little bit easier time-wise for me not to do video.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I'm opposed though, at all.
I like the idea of using the text post in the video. And I thought it was interesting that you didn't see the quality as being high enough for LinkedIn, what you were posting on Instagram. I think that's what you said.
Yeah, I just meant, what I meant was if I'm putting more sort of commitment into something as trying to actually grow an account, there's a difference between growing an account and like putting in the real quality and having something that's like a placeholder. I see Instagram right now as a placeholder. I'm not trying to grow my account. I'm literally just trying to update it, keep it fresh. Whereas like LinkedIn, every post really counts for me. Like I don't mess around with those posts. Not to say that a low quality video wouldn't do well. I have a good enough audience. It's not a big deal. But like if I were really to put in an effort to try and grow my Instagram account, every video would be pretty high quality. But as it stands, I don't really need to do that. Then again, Opus is pretty good, man. If you have like high quality HD stuff, 1080, even when it breaks it down, it still looks pretty damn good. It's edited. They do jump cuts, everything. It's all AI. It's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
definitely check that out.
Yeah, and it's not expensive. I paid like 174, but for like a ton of credits. Like it'll last like a year. Like,
Oh, wow.
yeah, it winds up being not terribly expensive. But if you're gonna do it, like use it. You know what I mean? Don't just. I'm just. The funny thing is, I just think that if you're doing Opus clips everywhere, don't do it to grow an account. You know what I mean? Like, just don't. Yeah, you can have high volume. Like, I have like 4 TikToks that go up a day from Opus clip. My account hasn't grown at all. It hasn't done shit. You know what I mean? Like, it would be nice. It would have worked like 2 years ago. But again, I just don't like counting on automation too much. I like personal touch, you know?
So are you saying like the Opus clip wouldn't be useful to grow my account on LinkedIn? Because I'm way
Oh,
behind.
I think it would.
Okay.
I think it would. Because remember, LinkedIn, you're also doing text posts.
Yeah.
So don't forget that part. You know, what I don't love about posting video on LinkedIn, this is just the lazy part of me. What I don't love is that you have to do 2 things. You got to film a video and do a text post. If you're doing a video on LinkedIn and you only have 1 line, unless you have like a massive account, you can't really get away with that. It won't perform well. At least I don't think it will. So, you know, I like what Kyle just wrote as well. Videos, I've said this many times in here, and I'll say it again because I think it's worth repeating. Videos are a very, very good nurturing tool. Extremely good nurturing tool. It's a way to get closer to your existing network. A video, here's a good example of a video. Hey guys, you've been reading my stuff for 5 months. Figured I'd say hello on video, right? Like the people you already know, and it's like, I really am that person that you thought I was. Here I am in video, right? If you're gonna try and grow an account with video, go to TikTok, go to YouTube, go to like video platforms, you know what I mean? Like, and again, people have differing opinions on this. The video feed on LinkedIn, you can get a lot of views. You can. I just don't trust it quite yet for that. So PS doesn't mean you can't grow, right? Because if you post a really good video and people like it, they might share it. They might say to someone else, "Hey, here's this Brian guy, right? And you might want to check out this video of his because that to me is more meaningful, and that's what I'm going for. I'm really very focused on organic referral type growth because that's the most valuable stuff. Doesn't mean I don't do ads. It doesn't mean I don't try out different things. It just means that, for example, I'll give you I'll tell you right now, like we booked 2 demos through ads, which was actually incredible progress because our first couple of weeks, I think we got 0. But those leads turned out to be crap. So it was like, you know what I mean? And it's going to take, I can tell you right now, the Facebook machine, that's going to take like 6 months. I can tell you that right now. It's going to take 6 months and investment. Probably 10 grand just to figure it out and hope that those leads become solid. It's hard. It's just hard. And that's why I don't do it. We have like an ad guy, right? What I do is I create the content. I create the videos for that person. And then he either splices them up or does whatever with his editor. And that's a service that costs money. He charges $1,500 a month just to do that stuff. And then you have to pay for ads on top of that. Which again, in my opinion, what can be done and what we teach is you can grow a high ticket business organically, 100%. You can still do that. And then that's when I would take some of that money and maybe reinvest and try and do those things. But again, it's entirely up to you. It's your money, your budget, right? Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Sure thing. You got it. Arnold, thanks for being patient, man.
My pleasure. Got a question for you around tracking. What tools or CRM, if any, do you use to measure, monitor activity, whether that's deal flow, whether that's centralizing messaging, whatever that may be? What tools, if any, do you use around that?
So what we use for the community, and part of the reason we moved over to GHL and we have this whole new system, is that what you guys don't see on the back end is every single person that comes through our door is tracked. We have a CRM. So anyone who was ever at one of my demos, anyone who's ever like emailed all that kind of stuff, that's all tracked in GHL. And we haven't even used it as a CRM system yet. Like we haven't even emailed anybody. So that's one thing that we use. You can actually use LinkedIn as a CRM. I wouldn't advise it because it's a pain in the ass. You have to it's very laborious. Like you have to effectively create lists, right? And what you do is you assign someone. So if you wanted to use LinkedIn as a typical sales tool, right? Like a typical CRM, A, it's Sales Navigator, right? You have to get Sales Navigator. And then B is what you would have to do is you create a list, right? And let's say you wanted to use it like Salesforce or any other CRM where you're tracking calls and progress and like reminders and all that kind of stuff. What you have to do is you create a list that says like first message, and you have to add them to that list. Then you have to create another list that says like second message, and then you have to delete them from. It's a lot of work. I've used LinkedIn as a CRM, and it was like 3 days in. I was like, no. So really good. I know that people in the group have different opinions on what the best CRMs are. I always loved Basecamp was always great. What's that one? Zoho is really good. Those are really good CRMs. So yeah, as far as tracking tools, and if you really wanted to do the whole like, all right, on my first call, I'm doing this, on my second call, I'm doing that, and reminders and all that, I would use an actual CRM off of LinkedIn. I don't want you wasting your time.
I've done it for like a week and it's mind-bendingly.
It's brutal.
Yeah.
It's brutal. So I'm like, my CRM equivalent is basically just like a giant mess. And I like the way that I follow up with people is if they like come across, if I see them. If I see them and I look at our chat history, I'm like, oh yeah, I talked to that guy a month ago. Let me message him again. It's really it's not good. And like I know this, it's not good. It stinks. But again, like what's your offer? What are you doing? If I'm doing high ticket, I'm taking it way more seriously, right? But I'm offering a lower ticket product where it's like, hey man, if someone's not really showing me a lot of reciprocity and they're not really interested, I leave it alone, and then eventually I come back to them months later because I see them in my list or whatever, and that's, by the way, I'm not recommending that for everyone because that's a very half-assed, shit way to do things. So I'm criticizing myself here, but again, it depends on what you're doing. Depends on what you care about. Depends on what your goals are. So in your particular case, if you're going after something higher ticket, I'd really take the CRM seriously. If you're growing a group, which I know you're doing that as well, I would definitely be pulling information from people that you are talking to 100%. And I would be storing that somewhere for either a newsletter, and I wouldn't even call it a newsletter because everybody uses the word newsletter. I just want to talk about the differentiation between a newsletter and a distribution list. People always forget about that. A newsletter is a product. A newsletter has to be damn good. A newsletter has to provide value, something that you're producing maybe once or twice a week. Could be an everyday thing, but it's got to be good, man. Like a newsletter has to be really, really good to make money from it, to get clients from it. A distribution list, that's for announcements. Nothing wrong with that, right? Hey guys, we have a new offer coming. That's not a newsletter. People think that's a newsletter. It's not. That's like announcements. And so in your case, I would definitely have, you could set up a sequence. You could do that as well. Hey, thanks so much for the call. It was a great session today. Here's the link, to purchase or whatever. And then they don't purchase, right? You need to set up some sort of a sequence that is like, hey, we talked, 6 months ago, and that's something I would automate. That's something I would talk to someone like Megan about. And that's something that we definitely are going to start implementing sooner than later, for sure. Because when my demos fill up, that's like free emails, like even if they don't show up, hey, you just went into my funnel. So whether it's manual or automatic, and there are also tools that are good. I don't like recommending things that I don't know are whitelisted by LinkedIn, but from what I've heard, Folk is really good. FOLK. It's just, I'm very scared to use APIs, anything that pulls from LinkedIn. I don't like doing it. I don't want to risk my account. So yeah, I mean, you got Stan, that was a really great presentation. So that's pretty good too. Anywho,
Is there any credence to things like Folk then taking
I mean,
data from LinkedIn and you getting penalized?
this is where I tell everyone in the group that you're all adults. You make your own decisions. What Darren and I will never do is we'll never tout something or offer discounts to something that is not approved by LinkedIn. We just won't do that because we just don't want to get involved in anything that's, if there's just the slightest hair of risk, we won't do it. Like we had someone who presented to the group, and then we found out after that technically it wasn't terms of service, so we couldn't endorse it. We won't endorse that. So Folk, I've never heard of someone getting kicked off of LinkedIn for using Folk, or even Taplio for that matter. People are posting Taplio posts all the time, like use Taplio, use Folk. But technically, there's a whitelist from LinkedIn. I don't know where it is, somewhere in the terms of service, and it'll tell you like which ones are allowed. So
Okay.
like Authored Up was the one that we used, and I still use Authored Up because they don't tap into the API, so they're not taking any information. But Folk is pretty robust, from what I understand, and pulls a lot of information, and it can organize it, and it's pretty powerful from what I understand, and I don't think it's terribly expensive. So, but again, that one's at your own Your own
Yeah, I
decision.
didn't know about the whitelist, so I'll go check that out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, look, honestly, I think the risk is relatively low. I think the risk is extremely low for all these things. When it comes to social media platforms, what they hate and what you will get dinged for and kicked out for are things like automation, right? Gaming the system, bots. That's the stuff where it's like big no-no. I mean, you'll get you're out. You'll never come back. Um, Look, one of the biggest creators on the platform was kicked out last a couple days ago. Yasmin Ali, he disappeared, just like I did a month ago. I disappeared, and they told me it was like a glitch. It was a glitch. I did nothing wrong. No terms of service. Lara Acosta, same thing. She had a terms of service violation, and it wasn't even like a violation. She went to like another country and like logged into her LinkedIn account. So it was actually a security measure on LinkedIn's part to make sure no one was getting into her account. But it's still really annoying, like when you lose your account. But just yeah, if your account goes away by mistake, that's one thing. But from what I've seen, automation and bots are like the biggest culprits. Like you really, yeah, don't mess around with that stuff. Like putting scripts into LinkedIn, like that's just you're playing with fire. So all these tools, they're obviously there for a reason, and obviously they know what they're doing, and they've invested however much money into their own system where they're like, LinkedIn's not gonna, our association with this is not. I don't know. It's just weird to me. Like
Mm.
they're constantly doing sponsored posts all over the place with creators. So if LinkedIn really, really had a problem with it, something tells me like that would be gone in an instant. So um, totally up to you. There you
Okay.
go. Kyle just put in a link for LinkedIn third-party partners. There you go.
That's
That's helpful. Thank you, Kyle. Oh, yeah, that's not all of them, but anyway, yeah, I'd have to find. I know Darren saw like an actual like a whitelist somewhere, so I'll have to ask him where he saw that. Uh, who's next? Anyone? Anyone? Bueller? Anyone? I'm not going to stop the call at 140. There's Kyle. What's up?
Hello, hello. Can I get a 5 month checkup, boss? Since nobody's got any questions. I've been with BB for 5 months now. Think I started with 10 connections. Now I'm at 300
Nice,
and followers over 300.
nice.
And yeah, I just love to give your little feedback. I mean, I feel like my profile is a landing page. It's tight, it's crisp, and my posts are slowly steering down the right direction. I try to throw in some very guided posts towards my niche, and I try to throw in a little bit of me, like pictures with the puppy. And then I also try to throw in general business owners to try to like widen the net a little bit to bring people in. But
Yeah, I loved your post today, by the way.
thank you.
And that to me is a very good sales post. Um, and so I think what you're doing is spot on. What I might do more of, and I don't know if you're doing this, are you hitting like the connect button every day?
I need to. I need to connect with 20 prospects, 20 clients.
I saw that was missing because as soon as I saw like the 300 number, I'm like, he should be way higher than that at this point.
Yeah,
That to me will really help. It will really help because those people, when they accept that connection, now in the beginning, it's going to suck because they're going to go to your account and be like, oh, he doesn't have a big following and I'm not going to connect with him. But the smart people will look at it and be like, look at all this engagement this guy has.
right.
And they'll like it. But when you connect with someone and they accept, you're in their feed, man.
Right. My daily LinkedIn strategy so far, let me know if yours is different. I log in, I see who commented since I fell asleep on my post that I missed, see if they're new, comment back on my last post, then I post, and then immediately I have another tab open with my Excel like you. Go down my 150 real quick. And in the meantime, in between that, I'm commenting back on my posts, keeping that up to date. And then after my 150, I go on my search bar and I should be connecting with 20. Well, first, after that, I go to my network and I see if I got connected with anyone. And I do a little history check on them to see if they're active to add to my list. If they're not that active, I'm not going to add them to my list and hit up their stuff every 6 months. And then I should be doing my 20 connections, right?
Yeah, I would redirect some of that energy to more outreach in terms of just hitting the connect button. Make sure you hit that 20 every day. Um, I'd almost worry less about, the engagement list. I'm not saying you shouldn't do the engagement list, but like, if you skip one of the 150 one day, it's not going to kill you because the majority of those people are not your ICPs or they may not buy from you.
They're
Um,
all brand built members
so
mainly.
there you go. Yeah, and
Yeah.
we all want to support each other. I
Yeah.
think that's great, but I think we're also all in the same group, and we're not going to like kill each other if we're not.
Hmm.
Remember, this isn't a pod, so I wouldn't sweat that too hard. And yeah, there's nothing wrong with diversifying. I'll tell you something that I've been actually doing lately, and I taught this to the group. I've been trying to comment on 10 new accounts every day. And what I mean by that is I'll go to someone who's kind of a competitor of mine and I'll look at all their past comments. I'll show you. And it's funny, he and I had a joke about it. I always steal from Darren McKee. He literally DM'd me this weekend and he's like, "You're going through my comments, aren't you?" I'm like, "Yes, I am." And he laughed. He didn't care. But I'll show you, for example, like Darren McKee, he's on my list, right? So I'll go to him. And so, Kyle, you would want to do this for someone in your industry or
Right.
tangentially related, right?
Right.
So what I'll do is I just go into his comments. So for all you watching, all you coaches out there, go into a good coach's comments. See, Devin Range, he's a second connection. I have no idea who that guy is. So what am I going to do? I'll open him in a new tab. Chris Yeager, he's already a first connection of mine, so whatever. Kevin Matznick, I don't know who that guy is. Husband, dad, team building consultant. Okay, great. So what I'll do is I'll open 10 of those. I'll check out Devin. Sorry, I have a lot of tabs open, so it's going to take forever. Okay, so Devin, for example, he did a post an hour ago. So if I want, just go in here and be like, "Here to support you, man." And then like, who knows what's going to happen after that? I have no idea. But my hope is that that person looks at my profile, potentially wants to connect with me, maybe follows me, and then a day later, I'll see that they followed me. And what am I going to do? I'm going to approach them about the community. Same thing with Kevin Matznick, right? And then I sometimes I look as well, like to see like, is this a premium member? Are they active? Just like all the things that I've always said. But the good news is when you see someone else commenting like McKee's feed, that kind of is a shortcut because you kind of know that person's probably going to be active if they're commenting on them, right? So Kevin, for example, here you go. He posts every day, almost every day. So this happened to me for the first time. Like I could comment on his post like right now. He's only got 1,030 followers. That's a potential member right there, right? So that's a really good practice as well. Also, and this is Darren McKee told me this himself. He thinks now, he doesn't know, no one knows, but he thinks that when you're diversifying around who you're commenting on, it actually might help the algorithm. Because what I've heard, and I've heard, I don't buy it because it hasn't changed my account at all, but like apparently if you're like commenting on 150 of the same posts every day, like really fast, the algorithm might see that and think it's like automated behavior or something like that. I haven't seen it happen. I don't believe it, but whatever. So when you get in a couple of diverse comments here and there, that could help things. And it could also help build relationships. But for you, you're missing piece right now, hit the damn connect button, dude. It's going to skyrocket you. Like if you do that every day this month, I can tell you that alone is really going to help. Now
Okay.
you want to try though. Again, I'm not concerned with you about quantity as much as I am quality.
Okay.
Stick to real estate people. Stick to people who are potential ICPs or those who are pretty damn close.
Okay.
Get 20 of those a day. I really think things will skyrocket for you.
Appreciate it.
Sure. Anytime. What do we got? Anyone else?
And if any of you are in real estate, no, I'm kidding.
But yeah, I remember doing this with Brandon Wallace, and he's in a different industry than you, but we went into
We've
sales.
actually done business together, me and Brandon,
There you
both
go.
ways. Yeah.
Very cool.
Oh,
So yeah, I remember I worked with him one-to-one like a while ago, and then he eventually joined the community. And I remember going into Sales Nav, and I was like, "Here's your entire target list," and it was like 17,500. It was like perfect number. And he actually has a lot of people working for him, so and he does a lot of AI. So it was like, you know, shooting fish in a barrel for him. It was awesome. He's like, "Oh man, I got this entire, and it's just hit connect, hit connect, hit connect, follow up, follow up, follow up." I mean, he's got a whole pipeline funnel going on there, all with people in the industry, all who have active accounts. It's like real estate's a really good one on LinkedIn for that. Coaching as well is also really big. Recruiting, as far as like active members. So, by the way, also I just want to, since everyone's on here, if you are a full, unlimited access member, you're paying the 195. And I know I had this with some people. You're obviously all on the call right now, so you shouldn't have this issue anymore. To get access to all these calls, if you go on the calendar, it says you have to pay for everything except for Tuesdays. That is not true. You just have to go to the unlimited lounge on the left side on the chat. Unlimited lounge, and that's like a calendar in there. Here, let me just show you guys. So for everyone on here, and we'll do like a whole call on it as well. But see this unlimited lounge? All the full participants have access to that unlimited lounge. If you don't have full access, you don't have access to that, and then you have to go into the events section. Some of you went into the events section today and you saw this green thing and it said you had to register for the call and pay money. As long as you have access to this, you don't. Everything's right in there. So I just want to let everybody know that. Does everybody like the new thing? Is it okay? I don't even know how everybody feels about it.
I like it. It reminds me a lot of school. I see how you took school and you kind of just cut and pasted over here, and I see a lot of potential for it.
Yeah, we didn't want to, and the activity it's buzzing, man. Like we've gotten 3 new members today. One organically just from my post today. One from the call I just had now. One was overnight. So it's on. We're very excited. Yeah, it's going to be cool. And this is why we had to put off the retreat. We really wanted to get this right. And I think once we hit the numbers, then we'll be much more in a better position to put on a retreat like that. Which, yeah, we're excited. Things are cool, man. Tomorrow's going to be a fun call. How do you join another ring? Good question, Nathan. So right now you can join 2. When somebody joins up at Community Access, they automatically get an email that says join 2 rings. If you're unlimited like you guys are, you could join them all. Just let us know, and like I'll get just get in touch with like Megan, and if you want to join other rings, like it's easy. We'll just make it happen. Yeah. And so what we're doing now is we're actually having ring leaders, right? And that's someone who gets the conversation going every single day in that particular ring. So check out the rings, see the ones you want to join, and have your own awesome conversations in there. Obviously, I'm going to be checking in daily on all of them, but we really wanted to make sure that things were active, things were exciting. There was a lot of tips going on. We really wanted to make sure that members were highly engaged outside of just the calls. So I feel the buzz. It's great. We're getting a shitload of activity, which is really what we wanted all along. So thank you to everyone for being really involved. And it's been a relatively smooth transition. I got to say, we were definitely really nervous working on this for a couple months. So, but yeah, that's why GHL rocks. Like there's so much stuff. They have new features every single day. The only thing I don't like, and I'll be the first to admit it because I've said it to Darren and Megan every single day. I'm an internet guy as far as like site speed. And whenever there's like a little buffering circle, I get really pissed off. But it was not a deal breaker for us. And GHL is always improving, and they actually upgraded their servers not even a month ago. So we're fine, and we can handle a zillion people. But exactly, yeah, John's right. Like for some, like it just goes really fast now. Like I don't know, it's getting better and better. So any other questions? Still got 6 minutes. Anyone? Anyone? All right, I'm gonna end it early. I'm gonna eat. No? Oh, John Carpenter. After all this time,
No,
wound
I
up
was
getting.
saying I'm good. I was thinking if I had a question, but I
No,
think
no,
I'm
no. I have to say something. After all this time, I accepted who I am in the world. I got a Camry. I wound up getting. After all this time, I drove a G70 Hyundai, the Genesis. That
yeah.
was most comparable because I was driving a Maxima, and the G70 was pretty. It was pretty rad. It was a very cool car. But then I got into like the thing I was very concerned about was pep acceleration, right? That's why I was like, I can't downgrade from my Maxima. And then it turned out, even at a lower horsepower, I didn't realize that like hybrids, they have some pop.
Yep.
So I got in the Camry and I was like, whatever. It's not as nice as my Maxima, but maybe I'll splurge in a couple of years, whatever.
But you don't drive anywhere, do you?
I don't drive anywhere. I had 11,300 miles after 3 years. Which is a joke, right? I mean, I should have just gotten like a freaking moped. You know, it wouldn't have mattered. So, but yeah, after all that time, I'm just an old man who got a Camry. So,
There you go. Enjoy.
yeah, whatever. All right, everybody. So we're excited for this week, excited for the new community, and yeah, hit us up whenever. Have a great week, everybody. Take it easy. Bye.